and I didn't know what it was.
But you knew it was drugs.
But I knew it was drugs.
Yeah. Look at
I
it.
was looking at it and I just took a sip and it was taste very very bitter and I was like,
Oh, fuck.
yeah, okay. And I was drinking more and
Wow.
I look at my friend who just took acid for the first time in his life. I was like, you want to try it? And I was like, yeah, okay. And
Oh,
you also
fuck.
drink
Not a
it.
good idea.
Not a good idea.
Welcome to Triptease, the psychedelic confession chamber. This is a podcast dedicated to trip reports, stories, and discussions about mind expanding experiences.
Off out of my mind, did you whisper? Lay down to me. Hold on, it's about to break down.
How excited are you?
I'm very, very, very excited to tell you about this
Yeah,
story.
yeah, man. Let's get excited here. Yeah, we're being excited. That's awesome. I think everything is working. Welcome to the podcast. We're gonna deal with some technicalities at the same time that Michael, my very beloved guest of today, is gonna introduce himself. Take it away.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Michael Hoffman. Um, I'm now almost 30. I'm originally from Be'er Sheva, from the south of Israel. Now currently live in the center of Israel. I think that in some way a lot of my life is dedicated to researching psychedelics and involved in the psychedelic movement here in Israel. I work in education in also different kind of forms.
I kind of abandoned Michael in front of the cameras here. He's doing not so bad. He's telling about himself, but yeah, maybe I should help him out a bit. Ask some some questions possibly. So okay, let's backtrack a bit. You said you deal a lot with psychedelics, and you work in education as well. And what else?
I was a math teacher and also I help kids here to gain confidence before the recruitment to the army.
So you work with stuff that has to do with military, and you also are a
Yes,
psychedelic
yes, I
advocate.
have
Yes,
different,
interesting.
a lot of, let's say, it places inside of my character that believe in some things that people will say are contradictive. As a reservist, the army is calling me for almost 20 or 25 days a year because I'm an officer. Also, as I was saying, inside the psychedelic community in different positions, and also I worked in the Knesset in different teams to try and
So the Knesset is the Israeli parliament.
yes,
So you're working in teams doing what in the
we
parliament?
were trying to settle open air parties in Israel to try and to find a ways
To
to
regulate them,
yeah yeah
but
yeah
not too much. But for some, yeah, yeah, it's a delicate issue, I guess, because you don't want the
from one
authorities to get too involved, but you want
yes
maybe some help with, yeah, with
because
taking care of some issues.
from one way you want to be in every open air party a tent from the sun, it can get very hot, and you want in every open air party for the people to have free water.
Right. Yeah. There's
Uh,
some basic stuff that is
yes.
might benefit from
And from the
regulation.
other hand, you don't want the police to get to the party and to close the music at the point of the peak of the party, when everybody is high, and then they have to go on their cars and drive
Yeah.
home when they're high on different kind of substances. So it's yes, it's very delicate to different sizes.
Yeah.
How to regulate this thing?
Nice. But nowadays you don't deal so much with the regulatory close
No,
to
no.
politicians. Nowadays you were more
I'm
work within a
more
community
yes, I'm more
context.
working inside of the community. I'm doing integration circles with people, and I'm doing one-on-one integration sessions with people, and I'm trying to make short courses for
Hmm.
people to gain a lot more knowledge.
Nice. Yeah. So there's a lot of information that's already been very useful and proven in many different ways. Some basic stuff that people might call harm reduction tips or talking about certain settings and stuff like that, that are very common knowledge for anyone that's been around a psychedelic community or did anything with to do with research or anything like that. And it's pretty simple stuff that you can teach people very easily. And you found that, I guess, that like void of a place where people can come and there'll be a lot of useful information. It's a bit what I'm trying to do here as well. Is just give it to the people the way it is through other people's stories and opinions of different people with different experiences, because people are, they always want to have drug experiences. That's just kind of human nature, I guess. So we're not even talking about the legality of it or anything like that. We know people do whatever they want to do in on some level, and we just want to help them do it better and less harmful as well, because there's also dangerous sides.
Yeah, totally.
So would you say like nowadays you might be uh, evolving from a activist to maybe possibly some combination of activist and entrepreneur, or
Yeah, I guess this is what I'm feeling, that I'm something between both of them.
yeah.
No, there is a part of me that will always stay in the activist world, but I feel that what activists are doing best is losing. Like,
Yeah, I hear this a lot recently.
this is what activists do best all the time, and if people think that to be an activist is like Greta Thunberg and getting prizes and lecturing to a lot of people,
Yeah.
no, it's not
Yeah.
happening this
Yeah.
way. It's very very frustrating, and I think that being an entrepreneur in the scene of doing good and psychedelic education is more of the way that I think things can work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to imagine what kind of businesses will be around it in the whatever next 10, 20 years. But they will be, because something is happening. There is a shift from people from psychedelic communities, from people that do research with psychedelic, even therapy. The people started using it more, and slowly it's becoming more open also. We got offers to participate in some mini docos or TV reports about the psychedelic renaissance in Israel, which we're probably not gonna do because, yeah, we don't trust them to like, yeah, portray what we are trying to say in a best way. So we are doing it like this directly to our crowd, yeah, to our audience. But we all started from curious kids that wanted to try out stuff. And I think when I started taking psychedelics, I didn't know what the psychedelic renaissance was, and if it was, it just like maybe sparked, started to happen. And I didn't do it because of that. I did it because I was curious and because I wanted to know what can happen, and because I wanted to see reality a bit differently and have fun experiences with my friends, basically. So now, after we talked about all of the work you do and the kind of, yeah, just like kind of what you do, how you act upon like promoting and helping the psychedelic world get better, now we wanna hear about your psychedelic world.
Let me ride down till moon will rise. You let me right down.
So the first story was the story of my first candy flip. I call the story the time that I realized that we are everything of everything and nothing matters.
Right, which is very similar to a title of a new like cult like movie that came out that everyone is raving about. But I know that Michael told me about this way before the movie came out, so
Yes,
he had
yes.
it.
Anyway, so it was, I think, like 7 years ago or something like this, or 6 years ago. And the first time that I took MDMA, I didn't know it was even MDMA. I was with a few of my friends and uh, my girlfriend when was back then. And this was this guy who who was writing a book,
Okay.
and he wrote a book. He also have a camp in the Midburn, and his name is Yuval.
Okay.
And I read his book, and after I read his book, I really like get attached to him at
Okay.
this time. And then he sent me a number and and directions to this party, which called the Powerpuff.
Nice.
And he said to me, "Listen, man, it's an amazing place with great people. You will really have fun." And I was like, "Okay, let's see what's up there." And it was in a beautiful place between trees. And I remember there was like a train that was going not far away. You can see the train, and there was like fields everywhere. It was amazing place. I felt like, wow, yeah, we should drop acid here. And I took and I gave to one of my friends who have a birthday. At the same day, for the first time, I gave him acid. And everything really, really was going amazing. I remember that at some point I get back to our place, and there was a guy there who gave me a bottle of water, and he said to me, "I want to trade it with just a normal bottle of water with you." I was
Nice.
like, "Man, you can take all of the pack. We have another one in the car." And he was like, "No, no, I just want to take one bottle of water, and I will go to my way." And he took one bottle of water, and he gave me this bottle. I was looking at it, and I saw inside of the bottle there was a small baggie, and I didn't know what it was.
But you knew it was drugs.
I knew it was drugs.
Yeah. Look at that.
I was looking at it, and I just took a sip, and it was taste very, very bitter, and I was like,
Oh, fuck.
yeah, okay. And I was drinking more, and
Wow.
I look at my friend who just took acid for the first time in his life. I was like, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." You
Oh,
also
fuck.
drink
Not a
it.
good idea.
Not a good idea. And I remember that I was chilling and going there and going back and dancing. And at some point, I remember that I got with my girlfriend to where was the dance floor. And I remember that we were hugging. And I remember how it felt that the hug was so pure that it felt like there was a bubble around us, and there was just me and her and what is between us, and nothing else. Like everything completely vanished, and we were just only the two of us in the world. It was wow. Like at this point, I started to realize, fuck, what is happening. I remember that after it, I was like really, really in this flow of emotions and thoughts and feelings, and I was trying to explain her. And there I started thinking, like, who are we? I remember how I was speaking to myself and all of my thoughts like colliding inside of my mind, like meteors that are clashing in space and turning into a star of some sort. And I was asking her like, who are we? We are just stardust. We are everything.
Oh wow.
And
It
and
started
then
escalating.
yeah,
Yeah.
it started escalating, and then I
Yeah.
turned. But what is this everything? We are everything of everything, and what is this big everything? And I remember she told me let's go for a walk, and I got to her. I started walking with her towards the fields, and a little bit after it, I told her, listen, I need to sit here." And I sat by an olive tree, and I remember I was sitting next to this tree, and I put my head back on the tree itself, and I felt how I was connected to the tree itself from my body, through my neck, through my head, and from the tree to the ground, and I felt all of all of the world. Like,
Wow.
I became one with
Yeah.
everything.
Connected to everything at the same time.
I really I can't explain this feeling of oneness. I don't know. At that point, I really really realized and really got into this feeling of we're everything of everything.
Yeah. Like I experienced something, I don't know, a bit similar somehow. Just sitting on a bar. I think at some a cosmic bar. I sat in a cosmic bar in Cambodia, and then I was like, yeah, yeah, it all makes sense, even though it's totally absurd and like awesome. Yeah, and I'm part of this. Yeah,
I think that after this oneness, I really tried to explain myself like, how come? How can it be? How can it be that everything is interconnected? Why am I here? Why this guy gave this to me? Why is she here with me? Why is everything is like this? Why is everything is what is happening right now? And then I get this second part of this phrase, and I told to myself, nothing matters.
yeah,
Like, how much you will think about it and try to explain this and how this works and why it it won't matter. It's like,
yeah.
this is
Yeah, because
how
there's so
things
much, there's
are.
infinity of stuff going on, and it's all like part of the same, somehow in some weird way, part of the same big thing. So not like one little thing can really matter so like so much. It's a weird one. It's a weird notion. It's good to be reminded of it sometimes. It gives proportions. Yeah, yeah,
And I felt that when I got this complete sense of we are everything of everything and nothing matters, I get this answer to every question that I ask after it. Why is that person hurt me, or why I succeeded or didn't succeed in this? And this phrase of because we are everything and everything and nothing matters was some kind of a cliche that works for
yeah.
everything.
Man, it just kept on making sense, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I tried.
yeah.
I asked the hardest question. It was like everything and everything, and nothing else matters. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a master key that unlocks all the doors.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It was
Yeah.
the answer for every question that I asked.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience that different people experience in many, many different ways, but somehow there is this experience that is kind of common on psychedelics, I guess. kind of have like this, finally for one moment, this pure understanding of reality.
Totally.
And yeah.
So after this experience, I thought to myself that I should write it. And from this point on, my brain and thought just started to working faster and faster and to really think how I can get deeper into the psychedelic experience and what I can find out there more because it really sparked an interest in me. So I started to write about this experience and about more experiences and day-to-day experiences. And yeah, and from there I started to write this book that I told you about, and the name of the book is "We
Yeah.
Are Everything of Everything and Nothing Matters."
Right. And you are actually working now on starting a crowdfunding campaign to
Yes.
finish publishing the book, or
Yes, yes, yes. I'm starting a crowdfunding campaign, and also
he didn't tell me to ask that. I wanted to. It's not planned.
so that trip went good, and we all got home, and I really but now when I'm thinking about it, I'm not really in touch with anybody that was there in this party. So no,
Really?
it's a little bit funny to think about that.
Hmm.
And the most meaningful moments of our lives will be with people that will in some way vanish from our life. It's a little bit sad
Not
now.
necessarily, but yeah, it happens like that for sure. Yeah, and especially if you take psychedelics also in a random place, but like a party could be okay, but it's still a random place, so you meet random people,
No,
and
but
you can really have very meaningful, profound meetups with people, but then never see them again.
yes, but the people that I was with there was very good friends at the time.
There's one time I took in a trance festival in Germany, and my friend that came with me was too tired to party. We went to a 3-day trance festival in Germany, and he was too tired. Weird. So I took acid on my own and went out to the party and just interacted in weird ways in the night, through the night, with people, creatures of the night, and then like amazing, cathartic, like sunrise set. And that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of the people I spent this trip with, but it was a very nice one, very kind of immersive and beautiful, and yeah.
Yeah.
We can also just take a moment to talk about how not responsible you've been in the initiation of this experience. So first of all, you mix two things without knowing the other thing, and also you took a bottle of water that's the main thing. Okay, let's start there. You took a bottle of water that quite obviously had drugs in it, and you just tried it. And if you tasted a very bitter taste, it means it had probably a pretty nice amount. It was a big dosage probably you took. But you still did it without being sure. That's definitely not recommended, never ever. But it happens, and then sometimes crazy experiences, beautiful, profound experiences come out of it. And then the second thing is you gave to your friend. I hope he was okay. But then, okay, that we got that out of the way. So basically, you did like kind of take a leap of faith,
Yeah, I think that also
and got into very high like space of being, of consciousness, of
also what
connectivity.
also wasn't responsible there is that I gave to my friend for the first time acid when I took myself
Mhm.
and
Right. Yeah.
we were like there was people with our group that didn't take anything and they could have been responsible about him, but I think that it will be better that if things will be more
Yeah, if someone looks after you the first time you trips or when you're on experience, is always a good idea to have someone that's responsible enough. And yeah, sometimes when you take substances, you're less responsible, so you're not necessarily equipped to look after another person. And yeah, for sure. But yeah, it goes both ways. If you are a friend that's helping a friend get into it, try and be more responsible, more caring. Just be responsible by looking after them. And if you're a person that's trying it the first time, don't try if you don't feel safe. Always start with small dosages, and then even if it's not amazing, you're not like totally out of it when your other friends are doing coke or something. You need to pick the right people to try with at the first time, but also take care of yourself, that it's a good environment for you. And yeah, the information is out there. There's so much you can learn about how to have a better trip and feel safer, etc., etc. All right, so that's a good like bang of a story to start with. And yeah, we're gonna just move on to the next one after the break.
It was in a very very small like town in the Negev desert,
Okay.
like a small place. There was a pub there when we throw a party at this pub. There was like maybe 50, 60 people at this party. It was very, very nice, very small, very fun. But the thing is that I was very like reckless at the time, and I remember that I was doing acid with friends while I was like the operator of the party with one of my other friends. I remember that in some point at the party, a little bit after people came, a friend that we both was like up to things and doing stuff and like taking money from people that came to the party. He came to me and he was like, "Wait, Michael, if I'm here and you're here, who is with the money in the entrance?" I was like, "Fuck!" And then we ran to the entrance and we were very lucky and everything stayed in place.
Wow.
But yeah, don't take acid when you need to manage a party. Don't do this.
Yeah, good tip.
I did
Another
this.
pro tip number 2, 3.
Don't do
Yeah.
it. When you have to be responsible, don't do
Yeah.
acid. It's not a good idea. And I did it a few times. So this is one of those times. At some point, I remember that I went out, like I went like 50 meters out of the party to some kind of, I don't know, to one of the directions
Right.
out
Just out
there.
into the desert.
Yeah, just out into the desert. And I remember looking at the skies, and all of the skies was like eyes looking back at me, like all of the sky. I don't know. I think that in this party I did like 3 drops or something like this.
A pretty strong
Yeah,
trip, yeah.
pretty strong trip. And I remember that fuck, it was like in from one way it was terrifying, and from the other way it was very interesting. And I don't remember what narrative started at this point, but I remember that I was going more and more to the fence. It was like in this kind of kibbutz. And I remember that there was a high fence, and after the fence, there was like those trenches. And I remember thinking to myself, why is there a fence here? Who are we guarding ourselves from?
Yeah.
And I felt like this spirit of the first Prime Minister of Israel, of Ben Gurion, was inside of me, and looking at this and becoming very angry of why we have those fences in our home and those trenches, like
Wow.
why we are
Yeah, the
at
very
war.
Zionistic,
Yes, like
idealistic kind of.
very
experience.
idealistic, Zionistic kind of way of thinking went inside of me at this point. And I was very, very, very angry about those fences. And I remember just screaming there and going. This crazy person in the kibbutz is just going and screaming, "Why there is a fence? Should be a fence!" And then I remember that.
Wow, hold on. Let's like talk about the scene for a moment. You're just like walking around. Other people were around seeing you
I don't
yelling
know.
at the
Like
fences.
I don't know. It was like 2 o'clock at the night or
It
3. I
was
don't know.
okay. Probably just between you and the fences, but it was getting intense. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. And
did you feel like the fences had some kind of were there like had personality or something
they
like that?
didn't. But I remember that it just got like more and fucked up, because at this point I remember that I was looking at the left of me, and I saw those rows of I don't know, the place when you grow chickens.
Like industrial chicken
Yes,
coops where
yes,
they're
yes,
like I
yes,
don't know how
yes.
they're called.
So, and then I become angry about this
Yeah,
and about what we're doing to those
chickens.
chickens.
And that we are caged and the chicken there, and we're imprisoning the chickens.
Yeah. Some kind
It's
of
a
those
vicious
very,
cycle of like, yeah.
yeah, and I looking at them, and I'm becoming very like, it's painful and angry at the same time, and I can like see in the distance the small dust that coming from there, from the chicken moving. I don't know, and those fans that were circling there. And then I look to the left, and I see more of those rows, and to the right, and I see more of those rows. And then I look in back, and I see more of those rows. And then I understand that everywhere that I look,
Those
I just
chicken
see,
coops.
yes.
Wow, what a nightmare.
And I'm like, fuck, like, where am I and where I should go from here? Like, and I can see the fence that was near me. I can see it like 3 meters from me. But I looking after the fence, and where there should be like desert and nothing, I see those chicken hoops
They're also.
everywhere. Like everywhere, they're everywhere.
Oh, fuck. What a trap.
I'm completely lost sense of orientation. But what I told myself, at this moment, I was like, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. I will continue go straight with the fence until I will get to the gate of the kibbutz, and from the
Right.
gate I will go to the party.
So, pro tip number 4, if you get stuck in a trip and you're disoriented to that level, engage the rules of a maze. Like in a maze, you follow the same wall, just try and follow one track, because eventually you'll get somewhere. The mistake is to try and every time, like, oh, this one looks more familiar. No, just go with one, you'll get somewhere.
Yes, find this anchor of reality and try to stick with it. So I tried, and I got to the gate, and when I got to the gate, I realized that I see the road that should go to the party, but I noticed that where she go, there are still more chicken hoops, and I still can't find my way.
Oh, God.
And then I stayed there, and I was like, I think that I will stay here until the sun will rise, and I hope that,
The chicken coops will disappear.
yeah, things will
Yeah.
just vanish and I will find my way. And in some way it happened, like after like half an hour or something like this, the sun started to get up, and this very very dark visuals started to fade out, and I went back to the party,
Wow.
by which this time has ended
Was the money still there?
Yes, yes, yes. Everything was still there, but you know, the guy was playing Pink Floyd, and everybody was chilling outside, and I was like, "What? What with my trance music? What?"
Yeah, you
And
finally
everybody
got
was,
over the hard part and you wanted to have some fun.
yes, and
And
everybody was like, "Where were you, Michael? Like we were looking for you." And I was, "No, you don't realize I was there, and I
come on,
didn't
turn on
find
the music
myself."
again. So what did you do? How did you burn the energy?
I don't know. I smoked something. I guess that it's like everybody just turned me down and like, listen, relax. It's over. Relax.
There's nothing you can do at this point.
And I really, yeah, I think that I realize that when you go with yourself to have a walk with your trip and to find new adventures, you probably won't come back to the same scenery that you left at the first place.
Things are changing all the time, man.
Things are
Yeah,
changing all the time in festivals and parties, and you
So
should.
yeah, and if you do want, again, if we're talking about useful tips, if education, if you do want to make sure you have a safe haven, make sure to have a space that you dedicate to go and chill out. If you're chipping next to your home or in your home or in a festival or something, put a little like cozy place, whatever, instruments, play music, whatever it is. Yeah, don't trust on other people to be like as hyped up as you are at the time. So you need to make sure, or whatever, to make sure you have your space that you can go to, and that would like be entertaining slash containing, for you, for
Yeah.
whatever you need is.
So I had this glass pipe and this little portion of 5-MeO DMT a few days before my wedding.
Interesting timing.
Yeah, I really wanted to do this because I felt that for a long time I was looking at the place, and I went into the forest, and there I found a spot where I sat down. I did the meditation for like 15 minutes, and then I took a glass pipe and put there the 5-MeO DMT and heated up the pipe and inhaled. I think that later on I realized that it wasn't everything. There was some left there, but inhaled I don't know how much, but it was enough to get to a very, very interesting place of I did felt that in some way my body was like I was not
Left behind.
not really left behind, but it was like this shimmering in all of the body. And then I told myself, you know what you should do? You should give yourself to it.
Okay.
You know,
Sounds like just
like the first tip, like give yourself to it.
yeah. Release
Um,
yourself into the experience. Don't try and
Release yourself.
resist. Yeah.
But
Which I've done many a times, like resisted, I think, because sometimes
It's
it
very
feels very powerful.
yes,
But yeah, if you can let go and go with it, then you have more. You can get more out of the experience when this happens.
and was the main message, you know,
Yeah.
of that experience. It was give yourself to what is going to happen, to the shift in your relationship, to the shift in your life, to the shift in whatever is going to happen. Dedicate yourself to experiences, dedicate yourself to the different processes that you are going through. and it came to me at the time which I was like between things, and it was very hard for me at this time to dedicate myself. But I really, really, really tried, and I can say that it happened something like a half year ago, and now in the late 3 months, I'm really, really in this kind of dedication to a lot of processes. And if it's me not smoking anymore, or me taking care of myself physically and doing a lot more exercise, and trying, as we started to talk about this entrepreneurship. So dedication is what I realized and what I'm trying to do more. And it was like this, some kind of, I think that all of my latest trips are very, starting with a meditation, not a really high dosage, in a very, very specific set and setting, and
Yeah.
very
Almost
short
more
messages.
engineered, but like basically more, yeah, more thought of, more safe, more beneficial, like stuff like that. You just choose to do not trips like in random set and settings
Yeah,
where you want to see what comes up. You actually have more specific goals for your trip, and you do it also in a safer way, because also if you did a little bit of psychedelics or a lot of psychedelics, you almost certainly been in situation where that were like very unpleasant at some parts of your trips, and as you get older you want to avoid that as well. You want to make sure you have a more smooth sailing, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that's also, yeah, that's a very nice sweet story that is an antidote to the other ones about like being more mature, when the first ones were more a bit more adventurous of connecting to the world and understanding what's going on here in our reality, and this one is more about like focusing on yourself and your life experience and giving more to that. So that's very nice, like a nice journey you went like through. So now, like before we finish, I want to talk about this integration thing that you are working on very hard recently, and I also believe it's a very good movement and a big tool that would help people like with mental health in general, and specifically for people that have psychedelic experiences to get the most benefits and the most growth or understanding or whatever it is from their experience. So if you want to just like, give us a little talk, a little like pitch as a psychedelic entrepreneur of why we should integrate integration into our lives.
I think that one of the most crucial things of the psychedelic experience is to bring a lot of those unspeakable and untoldable experience, feelings,
Yeah.
and thoughts, and visuals to our language and to our everyday lives. So we are trying in the integration process to, I won't say figure out, but to help ground to our daily lives those very, very um, influential and valuable narratives of the psychedelic experience. And I'm talking at it in a very positive kind of way, but I think that sometimes also, and for me, if I had those kind of integration work or people to talk to about my experience in a more careful or more grounded kind of way, I think that I uh, haven't went through the course of kind of a little bit of flipping out when I was
Right. So
younger.
we didn't touch on this story, but you do have in your history
Yeah,
a
yeah,
time
yeah.
where you admittedly kind of flipped out for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
So
think
if you
that
had in a proper integration, maybe it would have like been processed in that way and not getting to
totally. I
yeah.
think that integration is also might be posting your trip report on Facebook or
Any
in a
way
group.
to talk about it, but yeah, there are more and more people like you and like others, and sometimes clinical workers that are becoming better and specializing in helping people process these kind of experience better. But for sure, whatever, if you don't have access to that, talk to people around you. Of course, people that are interested. Don't just start like talking people ears off, or people that know nothing about psychedelics and it might alarm them. Don't do that. Talk to people that are interested in helping you process your experience, people that know similar experience. It's always interesting to sit and listen to others people's experiences. Try and find these people. And Michael is working nowadays on just start like the first kind of experimental kind of community meetings that offer this kind of, it's something between a service and between a communal activity, I guess. But you can also seek it as a one-on-one therapy session, and there are therapists that offer this service nowadays. So yeah, so if you are experimenting with psychedelics, seek integration. We're gonna talk more about it here on this podcast, and also about some new platforms that me and Michael and Pini, I guess it was here before, are working on. And hopefully we hope to come like with the next like big thing about that can increase the access of people to integration. Is only a thing, is only a tool we use, but basically it's community, because more and more people are being exposed to psychedelics also because of the Renaissance and all of that. But what it means is that people are exposed that are not necessarily part of a living organic community that knows and has experience. So there is an urgency to let more access to people, to useful information, to useful connections, because there's nothing that can change the human connection, at least not nowadays. They might be like bought like trip sitters in the future. Nowadays, a good friend that is responsible, grounded, with experience is way better than doing it on your own if you're unexperienced, etc. So yeah, hopefully in the near future, you can hear from both of us. We do a lot of activity in Hebrew nowadays, but we're trying to branch out internationally, and I hope soon enough to first of all post more information and links in my Facebook page, Triptease, the Psychedelic Trip Report podcast, and as well as maybe cooperating maybe cooperating with like other platforms to create more interesting content, and also hopefully events, community, etc.
Yeah, I think that we are on the way to this kind of making a bigger and bigger community. I see that the psychedelic community in Israel is more and more in notion of the value of those kind of things.
Yeah.
And
Being a bit more grown-ups about it, basically.
yeah, I
Because the
think
community used to be very anarchist, very underground, and then a lot of people still had some amazing experiences, but more people were getting hurt through experimenting. And now we want to see it being more safe, being more beneficial for more people in more types of ways. But yeah, you need to do it responsibly, and unfortunately gradually, because this is how bureaucracy also works. Yeah. But yeah, Michael is one of the guys. Look out for him. Michael Hoffman on Facebook.
yeah,
You can talk to him. He's involved in different stuff, but we're not gonna talk about them now because various reasons. But look him up. Look what he's doing up, and soon enough I'm gonna update you guys about like new stuff that's coming out from this very young, handsome, and active guy.
thank you very much. Thank you.